Welcome back, VA user. In today's video, we are going to cover how to create a purchase order from the requisition. So in this video, we are going to perform first how to create a requisition, then how to create a purchase order from the requisition, then what are all the setup needed somewhere within the system to generate the purchase order from the requisition. So let's move on to the system and we'll see. I have at my landing page of IdeaSync admin, I have logged in with IdeaSync admin, and let's create a purchase requisition. So let me search purchase requisition. So it is requisition only. So we'll open the requisition and we'll create a new record and say purchase requisition. Now the next is basically you just need to select the employee who is entering or who required this material, okay, who initiated this requisition. Okay, now you would be able to select your employee. So let me select your employee, one of the employee, let's say Jeff want to order this, and thereafter your document date and by when it is needed. So let's say 15th I've required all this material, not 15, let's say 13th. Enter a little description for which warehouse it is this requisition is generating for, and which are going to be the source warehouse. Now the source warehouse is because it depends upon organization to organization, so there might be around a couple of legal entities. Out of that, one legal entity is responsible of procuring the material. So if that is the case, then you just need to select the right source requisition, and if it is not the case, then you just need to select the same warehouse. So in my case, it is going to be the same warehouse. Select the purchase price list, select your priority, let's say it is the urgent one, and you just need to save your requisition header. Now if you want to generate the requisition lines, and you thought that the requisition line is pretty similar to the previous requisition of yours, then you will click on copy lines, select your requisition number, and the system will quickly generate your requisition lines. That is one of the case. The another case is if you want to generate the lines from the sales order. So you would be able to click on this. You would be able to select your sales order. The product details would be there, and the component details would be there at this particular form, and you would be able to select, and you would be able to generate the component lines. That is the second case. The third case, let's say if you want to generate certain lines from the sales order, then you would be able to do so. So let me remove this and we'll search sales orders. So there are many of the sales orders. Let's say I would like to select this, and I want to select all these. So all lines gets generated into this. Okay, now once it is done, then you would be able to even generate the lines from the production order. Only the case is, when there is a production order, then it means you have installed the manufacturing module. Now the requisition can be generated from the MRP, that is the material requirement planning. So if you have the material requirement planning from there also, you would be able to generate the purchase requisition or the purchase orders. So that is the create lines from, if you have generated the production order, and from that particular production order you want to generate the purchase requisition, you would be able to do so. In that case, you just need to click and you need to select the production order. Okay, now once it is done, thereafter we just need to move on to the requisition line. If I want to enter a few more lines manually, then I would be able to do so, and I would be able to update my quantities. Let's say for LC connectors I needed 10,000 quantities. Then for SC connectors I needed 5,000 quantities, and then there is FC connectors also. I would like to enter that so that you can see that we would be able to enter manually. So 2,000 quantities is needed for FC connectors. So you can save this, and in this way we would be able to generate the lines. Now the another important part of the requisition is you would be able to click on, after entering the lines, you would be able to calculate budget. If you have the budget already defined into the system, then the system would be able to showcase you that how much is the available budget. So in this field, you would be accordingly able to check that. Now once the requisition is done, you just need to complete the purchase requisition. So we'll complete this purchase requisition. Now from the purchase requisition, you would be able to convert the requisition to the RFQ, and from the RFQ you would be able to generate a purchase order. But in this video, what we are going to do, we are going to convert the purchase requisition to the purchase orders. So we are not going to look into that. So now we have the requisition lines. There are 3 lines, and against these 3 lines we want that all these 3 would get converted into the purchase orders. Now how we can do it? So we have a process called create PO against open requisition, and in this way you just need to select our PO organization, which organization I want to generate the purchase order, the requisition organization, for which organization open requisition needs to be considered, and thereafter you just need to select as a mandatory parameter days, I say Monday, and thereafter you just need to run if you want to consider all the requisitions. If you want to consider a specific requisition, then you can click here and you would be able to select your specific requisition. So in my case, the specific requisition is the urgent one. So I would select this and I will say okay. So as a result of the completion of this process, I would receive certain message. So you would be able to see that for FC connector, the frequency type which is selected here is not matching, right? For the SC connectors and also for the LC connectors. It means I need to run this process couple of more times after changing. So I have first purchase order generated. Now I would change here is Mondays, and then I will say okay. Then I have the next one. If I will change to weekdays, and then I will say okay, then no record found. So that is how the system used to generate. Okay, here the consolidate to 1 means that if you are considering more than one requisition and those requisition contains same product multiple times, then we would be able to consolidate to 1, since the current vendor for those products are going to be same. Now once it is generated, let's move on to the purchase order and we'll see the purchase order. So we have the purchase order number 34 and 35 generated. So you can see here 34 is generated, and here the SC connectors, and you would be able to see the quantities. Now we have the required quantities is 5,000. Since there is some quantities available within the system, so system is calculating and then considering those available stock while calculating the quantity here from the requisition to purchase order. However, you would be able to make the changes at this level. We are not system will not restrict you, but here the important thing is the system verifies and checks everything in terms of what are available, what are already ordered, and all these consideration would happen, and thereafter the system generates the quantities. Now let's move on to the next one. It is 35. Here the extensive enterprises for FC connector. Now the question is, why system is picking vendor extensive enterprises? Why system is picking per access solution for SC connectors? What would be the setup there into the system? So the setup is basically while defining the product at the level of the purchasing tab, we used to define the current vendors. So if you can go through here for the SC connectors, there is a per access solutions. That is the current vendor, and the currency you want to generate the PO is the USD. If you have the currency conversions, then you would be able to define those conversions, and system will accurately generate the purchase order in that particular unit of measurement if the conversion is available. Okay, and then the frequency would be checked and tested by at this particular place by the month days. Okay, so this is the setup that system checks And similarly, if you move on to the next product, it is the Praxis for the SC solution connectors. Then for the FC connectors, if you move on to the FC connectors and you will check here, the purchasing tab, the current vendor is extensive. That's why the system picks up these vendors. Now in terms of the setup, again, some of the important thing is while defining the current vendor, it is pretty important to define, the purchase price list, then the PO payment term, then the PO payment method. If these are missing, in that case, the system will throws the error or probably not create the purchase order. So you just need to make sure that all the setup would be in a way that everything would be in place and system generate the purchase orders. Now, once the purchase order is there, then you would be able to see this purchase order generated against which particular requisition line. So there is a link up of the requisition line with the purchase order. So you would be able to see this. And if you are going to make any change at the level of the PO line, you would be able to see the line history. Then if I will say, let's say it is not this, but I want 2500 quantities, and I will save this, and then I will move on to the order text and then the line history. So at this particular place, you would be able to see the line histories. So I think it's not prepared now, but it used to make the changes accordingly. Okay. So once it is done, then you would be able to complete your purchase orders, and thereafter you can send these purchase orders to your vendors so that you can procure the item. So that is the way how the system generate the purchase order from the purchase requisition. I hope after going through with this video, you would be able to set up your product and the purchasing tab accordingly, and thereafter you would be able to generate your requisition, and from the requisition you would be able to generate your purchase order. If you like this video, kindly subscribe our channel and share this video with your colleagues and friends so that they will learn about how to generate the purchase order from the purchase requisition into the VA system. Till then, thanks a lot. Bye bye. Ciao.